Hello, Facebook. Good morning. Happy Monday to everybody. It's Monday at our free real estate school here at our community, and you know what that means. That means we're going to teach you what they didn't teach you in real estate school. All of the things that they did not cover, and today is no different. Today, you're very fortunate in that you're going to learn from Nick Baldwin, one of the co-founders of Lab Coat Agents. And Nick has a fantastic modern technology presentation for you guys on Facebook. And I'll tell you, I'm not big on tech. Nick kind of pushed me into the Clubhouse thing, and I'm always very resilient. I was the last person on MySpace, I think, to this day. Now I have a band up and running on MySpace, and I refuse to let it go. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so we can't keep living in the past. We have to keep moving forward bravely into the future. And so that's why I asked Mr. Nick Baldwin to join us today to cover modern tech. And he does so by jumping right into Facebook, which is a huge part of all of our businesses. So if you are joining on Zoom right now, I would encourage you to start your Spanish translation. Andres de Arense is with us today, translating this class live on Spanish, or in Spanish, excuse me, and on Spanish. And we have Facebook, Real Estate Exam Study Group. If you are working to get licensed, there are things that you can start doing now to start getting active in your business. Do not wait to get licensed to let people know that you are working towards your license. Am I right, family? Happy Monday. Why wait? Why wait? Okay, and then finally, if you are watching on YouTube, all of our videos, our entire school course is located on YouTube and backlogged for you to check out. And right now, I'm going to add the wonderful and talented Mr. Seymour to this show. God. Suddenly Seymour is standing beside me.
Are we going to do show tunes today? That's how I get most of my real estate lead.
I bet. I just sort of dangle it out there a little bit, do a little show tune, and I'm like, if we see rival real estate crews out there.
Yeah, I'm the singing realtor, so, I sing songs at the closing. That's what you guys got to do.
Andres is literally saying, I sing songs in the closing in Spanish, but singing it in the other room. So you guys get to hear that.
How do you say it in Spanish?
He's doing it right now. This is great. So anyways, for those of you tuning in right now, this is Nick Baldwin, the co-founder of Lab Coat Agents. And we're talking about modern technology today. And so Nick did play Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors when he was a little bit younger.
When I was 16.
16. I played Dr. Orange Cavello DDS when I was 17, going on 18.
I see what you did there. Only a musical theater nerd would understand that reference.
Christy's laughing with us. We've got Sound of Music peeps in the house. Okay, so we're going to jump in. We're going to get a little bit more on task just for the Zoom crew that is already tuned in this morning. Lisa Toscano, thank you for tuning in. She says, good morning. And she gave us a dancing guy in a microphone, which is definitely important way to start your day. Hey, if you are bummed out on your Monday, listen to show tunes, listen to disco, right?
Totally.
Okay, all right, let's go ahead and jump in there, Nick Baldwin. So Nick is, like I said, we're talking about modern tech. Nick, would you like to tell everybody who you are and a little bit about what you do, sir?
Sure. I'm Nick Baldwin, been in real estate for about 15 years. I am originally from New Jersey. So I was here for 20 years, moved to Michigan about 3 years ago to be a team leader of a Keller Williams brokerage. And then I did that for 2 years, transitioned to the regional technology trainer for the Michigan, Northern Ohio region of KW. And I'm the co-founder of Lab Coat Agents, which is the largest social media community on the interwebs. So Facebook, MySpace, Instagram. We have an accumulative 220,000 members and followers on multiple platforms. So it's a free platform. Labcoatagents.com is our website. And if you're in the middle of getting licensed, jump in. If you're already licensed, jump in. So either way, jump in. It's fun.
For those of you that are tuning in Real Estate Exam Study Group, Lab Coat Agents is a fantastic group for you to jump into, whether you're waiting to get licensed or are already licensed. So feel free to jump into that. For those of you tuning on my page, good morning, good morning. So Nick Baldwin, at this point, I'm going to let you share your screen. I'm going to pop off a little bit and let everybody see more Mr. Baldwin. And so are you ready for your presentation, sir?
I'm ready. Let's rock and roll, baby.
Action.
So I'm talking to grown-ups this time, not high schoolers.
You are talking to grown-ups. So last week, Nick Baldwin taught in our high school course, which runs every day as an after-school program from 4 to 5 o'clock. It's mainly for Californians, but everybody can really jump in. And so we kept it like super G, lowercase g, that is. And so this time, we're able to go uppercase G. We have uppercase G's in the office, and we have uppercase G's watching at home. So feel free to keep it uppercase.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I forgot I was going to say something, and I don't remember what it was. I'll think of it later if it was.
I have that effect on people.
Oh, okay. So here's what I wanted to ask. So like, I'm talking to grown-ups. Oh, this is what I was going to say. It wasn't important at all. I was asking if I'm talking to grown-ups because I've been talking to a 5-year-old for the last 11 months in my house, and I forgot how to talk to grown-ups. So now I have to really think. I have to focus on it. You know.
Well, welcome to the grown-up show. It's Monday morning. Cheers.
Oh, the real estate grown-up show. All right, let's go. Let's do it. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, there we go. Cool. So we're going to talk today about Facebook. Facebook for growing a real estate business. Because if you're just getting into real estate, there's three really great ways to generate business and create a business. And one of those ways, if you're going to put money into advertising, is social media, because it is the most cost-effective way to build a pipeline, to brand yourself, to get yourself out there, and obviously to, meet potential buyers and sellers that you've never met before. So let's talk about how we're going to do that, because it's a really valuable tool. And if you don't have a big budget, your first, year or so until you start making money, this is going to be how you're going to grow that future business pipeline. The other two were your sphere of influence and then doing open houses, but we're going to focus on this. So because like I mentioned, I'm co-founder of Lab Agents, which is a pretty large community online. We have we've had opportunity to test a lot of lead generation technology, mostly in the social media space, to see how good the leads are, how much they cost in different regions. And so we've basically kind of figured out, like, on average in the Los Angeles area, between $8 and $12 typically will cost you to generate one lead through Facebook, which, by the way, is still very good. Could be less depending on what your ad is, who you're targeting, but on average, that's typically the price. Now, if you know anything about internet lead generation and some of the other consumer portals that realtors pay to get in front of people with, Zillow, Realtor.com, those are very, very expensive. And the reason is because a Zillow, Realtor.com lead is essentially going to be ready to see a property and potentially make an offer. Whereas a Facebook lead is going to be much further out in the pipeline, probably, 8 to 12 months, maybe more, typically, not always. And sometimes they don't even know that they can buy a house within 6 months. That's how uneducated they are about the real estate market. But the great part about it is, with Facebook opportunities, unlike a Zillow, they're not just requesting to see a property and have you open the door and write an offer for them, which, by the way, is great. But we don't want to create a business that's essentially filled with nothing open for me leads. Because if that's the only thing that you do for them right off the bat, that's how they're going to think of you. So Facebook opportunities are more, while they're further out in the pipeline, they need to be nurtured and they need to be educated. And so this is your opportunity to build a relationship and teach them what it takes to buy a home. So there's three main reasons why agents can build a better business, or just build a business in general, with Facebook. And it's because the cost per lead is very low, which means you can generate a lot for not a lot of money. There's a longer nurture time, which I feel is a good thing. Some agents don't, because the only reason why they wouldn't is because they don't know how to stay in touch over a long period of time. But the great part about it is it does help you build deeper relationships. Now I'm going to get into later how you can follow up quickly and follow up often without having to lift a finger. And it allows you to scale your business. So if you want to create a team and hire buyer agents, or expand from one market to another market. Some brokerages you'll join, most brokerages actually have models for expanding to different towns or different states. And so if that's something you want to do over time, you can't really do that on $500 to $1,000 a lead. You can do that on $5 to $10 to $12 a lead. And so these are ads that are working right now. And when I say right now, I mean in the age of COVID. So I got into real estate in 2007. And since we have grown-ups on the call, you'll remember exactly what that time was like. And anybody who got into real estate in that time was most likely insane and should be checked into a mental hospital. I've been to mental hospitals, but for different reasons. I'm just kidding. But the point is 2007, 2008 through 2012 were very, very difficult years to sell real estate. And so I went from being a waiter making $16,000 a year to being a realtor making around $75,000 or $80,000 in my first year in the business. So I did well for 2007 because I learned to sell real estate in the only market that I knew, which was a financial downturn, worse, just almost as bad as the Great Depression. So that was a blessing in disguise. When you're selling now, getting into it in the pandemic, this is going to be the only way you know. So this is going to be the way you learn. And then when things get back to normal, you actually are learning to sell in a double whammy. Unemployment is at an all-time high, and there's a pandemic. So it's two different ways that are going to level you up without you even trying to be leveled up. And so that's what's so great about getting into real estate now. A lot of realtors are going to go out of business because they can't adapt, whereas you don't have to adapt. This is just the way you know, and this is how you're going to learn. So let's go through these ads. So all three of these are showcasing like a digital tour, like a virtual tour, or a landing, or like a video, or a 3D tour, or something that people can walk through from their phones or their computers, right? And this is very important now because we want to limit the amount of people that go into a home, and we can better qualify them this way by showing them a video or a 3D tour of the property. And that's a great way for us to qualify them to see if they're, able to buy, or to get a better sense of what they're looking for. Did I skip? No. Okay. So let's get into how you're going to capture that information from people on Facebook. So Facebook knows more about you than you know about yourself, in that it has all the information on you. It has your name, email, and phone number, which are basically the simple parts. But those are the things that we as realtors need when we're running campaigns. But so name, email, phone, it knows how old you are, how much money you make, where you live, how much your house is worth. It knows all these things about you, what your kids are doing, where they go to school. That comes in handy when we start to run ads, because Facebook helps us put our ads in front of the right people. But in terms of getting information on somebody, we want to capture their name, email, and phone number in the easiest possible way. So what Facebook does is uses what's called lead generation forms, or a Facebook lead ad, where when a consumer clicks on your ad for your open house or your new listing, it's going to automatically put their name, email, and phone number in the form. So this form here on this screen won't be blank. It'll have their email, full name, and phone. And usually that information is correct. It just depends how long they've been on the platform, and it just depends on whether or not they have the Facebook Messenger or the mobile app, or if they decided to change their information once it was shown to them. All of those things come into account, but it's still the most cost-effective way to get accurate consumer info when they click on your ad And then this form pops up and they click next and it brings them to the property you're advertising. Now, I said before, it's very important to follow up quickly and to follow up a lot. And then with Facebook opportunities, you're going to want to follow up over a longer period of time. That's all well and good, but we have to understand why that's important. So here's some really great statistics from Baylor University, which is where Gary Keller actually went to college, got his degree in real estate, and then the National Association of Realtors. These two did a study, and this is what they found, that 51% of text inquiries from online never get a response from an agent. 49% of emails never receive a response. When they did, it took over 5.5 hours. 29% of phone calls never got a call back. And if they did, it took almost 2 hours. Now, this is where NAR has figured out that 78% of consumers will work with the first agent that contacts them. And so that's super important. And it's not necessarily the first person that reaches out, although if you reach out, you're usually the first one to contact them. But it's also the first one that actually gets them to reply or gets them to pick up the phone. So the only way you're going to be able to do that is to respond quickly and to respond often. If they didn't call you back, keep texting, keep emailing, keep calling. Unless they tell you to stop, it's telling you, I'm still interested, I'm just not available right now, or I'm not ready. And when I am, I'll let you know. That's what that is, essentially. All right. Now, how can I follow up? I'm getting all these leads coming in. How can I respond so quickly, right? I'm only one person. Cool. Well, you can automate basically like anything. Text, email, voicemail, cards, gifts. All of these things can be put on campaigns to be sent out at specific times. Gifts on birthdays, cards on Christmas, emails on whatever, texts when someone requests information about a home. All of these things can be automated. And I want to give you an example of, before I talk about how to automate it, some real data on basically from my database on how long it could potentially take to actually get someone who opted into a Facebook campaign to get in touch with you. So here's an example. This was, I don't know, last year or something. June 23rd, we had a buyer who came in from Facebook, and it took 37 touches. That's 37 contact attempts, text, email, phone, listing alerts. We got no reply. Then all of a sudden on November 6th, we got a request to see the property. We called. We used a company called Conversion Monster for that. They're very expensive. I'm not going to talk about them today because they are very expensive. And unless you have an established business or team, they are actual human beings who answer the call for you and send the messages. We're not going to get into that today because I'm going to get into more of an automated system that costs a lot less. That's very effective. But this is the contact information. This is the information they got when that person requested to see a property. So June 23rd to November 6th, a very long time with lots of consistent follow-up. Another great way that you can stay in front of people is by having Facebook Messenger on your website. Okay, so everyone recognizes that Facebook Messenger icon is very trustworthy, even though Facebook is kind of betraying some of our trust. People still know that logo and they'll click on it because Facebook found that 65% of people actually feel more comfortable messaging a business, and they feel that it's going to enable much better customer experiences. That's because with the Facebook Messenger, you can install like a bot, which essentially has conversations with the person by asking them questions, or they message the page from your site and you just have a one-on-one conversation with them. Either way, it's effective. If it's a bot, they know it's a bot and their information is collected. And if it's a real person, they'll just talk to you, because anyone who takes that action is pretty motivated. And you can install messenger bots or messenger features on your sites there's a company called ManyChat, ManyChat. That's a great one. It's very cheap. I want to say like $20 a month, or you can find a Facebook HTML code that allows you to embed this the widget into your site. it's great because you can have back and forth conversations from your phone with people. It's really awesome. So someone who's on this page might message me saying, I'd like more information on this home, right? Or I'm looking at 19 Birchwood. When can I see that? Because this will always be on the website. All right, so this is for drip campaigns. One of the platforms I really love is called Agent Legend. And this is what I was talking before. Conversion Monster is very expensive because it's human beings. Whereas Agent Legend is like a computer. It's basically texting, automated texting and email with voicemail drops, which you don't want to overuse. But it's like slide dial where you can record a voicemail and it will, drop a message as if they missed your call. But this platform, Agent Legend, is under $200, and you can create endless amount of campaigns from scratch, or you can find a bunch of templates in the library for all different occasions, right? New leads, home anniversary, birthday, whatever it is, you can find it. And it's very effective. You just set it up and specifically tell it when you want these plans to start deploying. And what's great is you can connect it right to your Facebook ads manager. So if a lead comes in from a Facebook ad, it'll go into this system and it will essentially, it'll trigger that ad campaign. It'll trigger the drip campaign attached to that ad to start within, a minute or 2 minutes. You decide. And then you can create a cadence of other texts and emails to go out over, up to a year to stay in front of people and further nurture them until they actually decide to talk to you. All right. So that's called agentlegend.com, one of my favorites. Okay. So this is a really cool piece of info about what buyers want, like 3 really important things that buyers are looking for. And this will help you create, a business around, if you know what they need. The thing is with them, sometimes they don't even know what they need. This is just research over what, companies like Facebook have seen, right? But people do like the convenience of mobile. So they like to be able to look at homes 24/7, and they like to manage home searches on their own. That doesn't mean that they don't want to use an agent. In 2019 and 2020, both years, 90% of buyers and sellers used an agent to buy a home, which is the highest it's ever been in the history of like taking essentially notes on that, right? So with all these companies like Zillow and all the tech companies trying to put us out of business, more and more people are using realtors more and more than ever before.
I love that.
Oh, you want to jump in and say something?
Yeah, I just want to say I love that. All of the numbers here in this right now are so good. Amy and I were just sitting here looking at each other. We're like, we've got to rewatch this later because I'm like, write that down. And like normally I've got my notepad everywhere. Like this is so.
Take a picture of the screen.
Yeah, I know, but I'm stuck in the Stone Age, my friend. You know that. That's why you're teaching modern technology and not me.
I know. Picture for photographs. That's so revolutionary.
This is so good. Anyway, my friend, I'll jump right back out. I'm loving it, Nick Baldwin.
Yeah, cool. So anyway, hey David, you mute yourself so I don't hear my voice back. No problem. Okay, yeah. So yeah, the new NAR stats came out recently. And about 89% of buyers and sellers used a realtor last year, and the same goes for 2019. So like I said, like all these companies that are trying to put us out of business, it's not working, right? Because people still use us. So that's good to know. So it doesn't matter. They can search everywhere. They still need us to buy homes. Also, they want autonomy. All right. They want a wide range of information, and functionality from mobile experiences. They spend an average of 14 hours a week on social media when they're looking to purchase a property. And more than half of them are saying that they're influenced by seeing their friends on Facebook and Instagram buying homes. That influences them to want to do the same. Also, personalization is really important. So 51% of US digital device users that Facebook surveyed said that they're more likely to make a purchase when they see that the content they're getting is personal, more catered toward them. So what does that mean, right? Like, let's look at some sites that do that. Facebook is one of them. Your news feed curates what you want to see based on what you click on, what you comment on. Netflix is a one-on-one experience that shows you movies and TV shows that you're more likely to want to watch based on viewing habits. And Amazon, everybody's homepage on Amazon looks different based on what they buy. What is not personalized is Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, Trulia. None of those sites are personal. Everybody sees the exact same thing, no matter what they're looking at in terms of what they want to buy. So how can you, as a real estate professional, personalize the home search? Well, you can do it through something called dynamic ads for real estate. And believe it or not, there's a good amount of companies that are offering this now to real estate professionals. One of them is called Ylopo, YLOPO. It's a funny name, but it makes sense because it's the last 5 letters of the word monopoly backwards, and monopoly is a real estate game. Chime is a company that offers that as well. Let's think. Oh, I think like other real estate agent platforms, like marketing platforms, will offer dynamic ads. And what dynamic ads do are, there's really no other than Amazon, I don't think. There's no other industry that has more inventory than real estate, right? So there's always something new to show somebody. So what dynamic ads do is, as the person clicks, much like Facebook, the more you click on ads about Spider-Man, like me, the more ads or articles I'm going to see in my news feed that are about Spider-Man. If I'm looking at properties for sale in West Bloomfield Township, Michigan, that are 3 beds and 3 baths, I'm going to then see homes in my news feed that are 3 beds and 3 baths in West Bloomfield, Michigan. If for some reason I decide to change my search and I bring it down to 2 beds, 2 baths, then I'm going to start seeing homes in West Bloomfield Township for 2 beds and 2 baths. So the great part about it is, every time they click and see a new ad, it changes, which keeps it moving, which means it's dynamic, which in turn will pique the interest of the consumer because it's something they haven't seen before. Like, I know that over summer, when I was looking for a barbecue and I went to homedepot.com, I kept seeing like the same barbecue in my newsfeed for like a month. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to buy this. Don't you have like other barbecues you can show me? That's a static ad. I got tired of that ad. It didn't change. It was boring. I decided I wasn't going to buy it, but I kept seeing it. Dynamic keeps changing. And because we have so much inventory, as opposed to like 3 different versions of a grill, we can constantly change the content without having to do anything. The algorithm does it for us. So how do you reach home buyers with dynamic ads? So this is a study that Facebook did with the company I was mentioning, Ylopo, specifically about dynamic ads for real estate. And this was actually a study they did on me in 2018 when I was using Ylopo. And so these are numbers based on my experience. So it says, when they analyzed my information, it said that I had 7.6 times the return on my ad spend with social media with dynamic ads. I saw a 24% lower cost per lead than just trying to generate new opportunities. I was cultivating existing ones in my database, and my cost per lead was 43% lower compared to other consumer portals like Realtor.com and Zillow. So that's a huge savings here. So let's say the reason why is because the money is in where it costs you money is to generate the lead. Once you have a database, let's say you have 500 or 1,000 people in your database that you've that have opted into your website, it's very less expensive to then stay in front of them. So it'll maybe only cost me $150 a month to like nurture those people in my database. And so we'll see results like this. Our brand awareness will be seen by 200,000 more people over the last 30 days. We've brought over 4,000 people back to our website through the dynamic ads over the last 6 months, which is over 700 people a month coming back. I mean, here's the thing. Realtors say, like, how can I compete with Zillow? What they're doing is on a national level is so huge. Well, don't worry. Don't think about competing with them on a national level. With dynamic ads, you can compete with them on a local level because that's 722 people that came back to my site in my like 3 or 4 zip codes is essentially equivalent to the millions of people coming back to Zillow every month. I'm just doing it on a really hyper local level because that's where I'm focused on and that's where I'm an expert in. So focus on that. So yeah, so these are all really great stats that that can show you the power of using dynamic ads. All right, so one of the things that I love to do and that you should also be focusing on when you get licensed or when you start working is staying in front of your friends and family, right? You're not going to have past clients, but I'm sure you have friends and family. And holiday text messages are very powerful. And so with systems like Agent Legend, you can schedule out, a whole year's worth of texts that keep in touch, right? So doing them on national holidays is important because there's a lot of reasons why. I mean, people are home from work, but typically on holidays, they're around family members. And during the holidays, when family members are together, what do they talk about? A lot of the conversations are who got married, who had a baby, and who bought a house. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Like the highest rated shows on television are who's getting married, who's having a baby, and who's buying a house, right? Like every reality show. And so if you text your clients and they're around their friends on 4th of July, there's a good chance that somebody mentioned that they need to buy a house. There's a very good chance. So this keeps it specific. This keeps it consistent, and you don't have to do anything. You set up the campaign at the beginning of the year or whatever time of the year it is that you start and schedule these messages out. And I remember specifically the last year I sold a home personally was 2017. And then I went on to some leadership roles within the company. But I remember in 2017 that there was one text message that I sent out that actually made me $60,000. And it was a 4th of July text. Now, it wasn't just because I sent out that text. It was like the 6 other texts that came before it. It was happy birthdays. It was phone calls. It was more client appreciation and staying in touch. It just accumulated to 2 million in sales and 60,000. I mean, 60,000 is already almost double the average salary in America, which is 39,000. So imagine doing that like a few times a year, right? Imagine pouring into your clients or your friends and family and clients and generating $1 million or $2 million, every time over time. I mean, it's very, very effective. Most agents will tell you that their business comes from a very small portion of their database that they're pouring into over and over and over. You don't have to have like a 10,000 person database. You only need to know a couple hundred people, right? Because they all know somebody and they all know somebody, and it just has a domino effect. All right. So some of these things we know, but I want to focus on video being the future. Video viewers in the US are watching on the internet. 83% of them are watching on the internet. And so that means Netflix, it means Facebook Watch, it means YouTube, anything that's streaming through an internet or Wi-Fi. That's huge, right? And I don't think video is the future. I think video is right now. We're just not adapting it at the pace at which we should be. And so because you guys are coming right into the business, video content should be right at the top of your list. I'm going to show you a video that an agent friend of mine down in Florida created. And I'm not going to show you the entire thing, but I'm going to show you a couple of minutes of it. These are and he did this with an iPhone and a stabilizer. And then I think he edited it on Animoto or iMovie or something. But it's great to create content around where you live, right? And so Ken Posick, who's the agent, he moved to a new market. He moved to Orlando about 4 years ago, did 11 million in volume, great business, great volume in the first year. The only problem is he made 300,000, but he spent 400,000. So it wasn't profitable. But in 2020, he did 73 million, and 20 million of it came from video, directly from YouTube, organic. And in January, he and his team did 50 transactions already in January 2021. I'm not telling you this to brag about him. I'm telling you because he was video is the forefront of his business. His first year in real estate, he did a video a day for 365 days. And then Google recognized that he was so consistent. And now his videos organically are bringing in, I think he has a pipeline of 30 people from from YouTube, who are now looking to buy homes. It's only February. So let me show you this video.
My name is Ken Posick. I'm a real estate agent and homeowner here in Celebration, Florida. And today I'm going to give you sort of a tour that includes a top 10 list of things that maybe you didn't know about Celebration in this iconic town. So come on, let's take a look. All right, so thing number one about Celebration is that we actually aren't owned and run by Disney. Many people think that because we live here, obviously we might get free annual passes or something like that, but it actually was designed and thought of by Disney, but Disney does not maintain control other than a few things, which we'll talk about in a minute. So number two is that Celebration isn't its own city or town. It's actually a master plan community located within Kissimmee, which is Osceola County. And although we're right next to Disney property, I mean, you could see Disney fireworks at night, we're actually not on Disney property. Fact number three is that Celebration is actually divided up into a lot of different little villages or little communities within Celebration. There's North, South, East, and West Village. There's also Aquila Loop and Artisan Park and Spring Lake. And each one of these little villages has its own vibe and its own home style type. And so depending on where you live is kind of the different homes that you might have. Founded on one of its core tenets of health is Celebration has 26 miles of walking, running, and biking trails, as well as 40 pocket parks and multiple pools and workout facilities spread out throughout the neighborhood. And regardless of where you live here, you can use any one of those pools, unless it's Artisan Park, and that's something that you can drop me a message if you have questions about. One of the things that Celebration does not allow is short-term rentals, meaning you can't rent out your place for a day, a week, a month. It's a minimum of a year, and in some cases, it's 7 months if you get an exception or pay an extra fee. But the thinking behind that is just so that it allows you to have to know who your neighbors are, to keep that sense of community going. And something that's really important, as really just a founding tenet of Celebration, is that community. So in Celebration, we actually allow people to have an NEV, which is an electronic, basically a bigger golf cart, and they've got special places for you to park throughout the community to make life here a little bit more economical and green. So the town is set up actually really interesting in that it doesn't have just one governing body. There's actually multiple different ones that are set up. There's CROA, Canoa, the Celebration Company, the CCDD, and they all do different things. And so it can get really confusing if you see online, the different fees that we have for homeowners association and what covers what. So if you have questions about that, it can be confusing. So make sure you reach out. So let's talk affordability. A lot of people think that Celebration is completely unattainable, which it is one of the more expensive towns in Central Florida. But you can find a condo or a townhouse in the $300,000 range, maybe just under $300,000, all the way up to the estate-sized homes, which are going to be in the $2-3 million range, and really everything in between. So if you have questions about that, what you can afford in Celebration, drop me a line. So wrapping up, yes, it's amazing that you.
So anyway, I just wanted to show you a little bit of that video because Ken. Hold on a second. I think that's the last slide I have. Yeah, Ken does a really great job, and it's a great model for you guys to. Oh, I have to stop sharing my screen. There we go. this platform's this eCam. I'm not used to it, David. You're more techie than me, basically, was what I'm saying. But Ken's really great at creating content, and it's not that hard to do if you guys just focus on your community, focus on local businesses, creating videos like that have information, build trust. Video is the best way to build trust, because instantly you have skipped one of the most difficult aspects of nurturing is you've shown them your face. They can see your eyes. They can build trust with you just through the video. They can get to know your personality. It's really powerful. So I hope you guys got some value from that. David, you want to jump back in? And
yes, sir. Nick Baldwin.
Hey,
fabulous.
Man,
I appreciate you.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, so right now I'm going to open it up to people in the Zoom. If you're watching on Zoom, we're going to just give it a moment here because, of course, Andres is translating this into Spanish right now. And so I want to give an opportunity for everybody to chime in. We've got several people here in the office if anybody wants to join me as well. And then also people watching on Facebook who we've been answering their questions as we have been going through the broadcast. So let me check the Zoom right here.
Yeah.
Okay. We got a cool beans. We got a lot of some wow, awesome, and whatnot.
That's how I know we're talking to grown-ups, because kids wouldn't say that.
Hey, the high school students would not say cool beans.
No, they would not.
Okay.
They'd say, yo, that's dope.
That's what they would say. All of the kids pretty much say that's dope. Okay, anybody in the office?
Let's open
it up here. Any questions on tech? Hey, yeah, Andres, I'll wait for you too. Amy's going to come on first here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the chair for everyone to go ahead and switch out. Amy, you're talking to Nick Baldwin.
Hey, Nick Baldwin. Good morning.
Hey, Amy, what's up?
Hey,
nice
I've got a question. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much. Your content today was absolutely mind-blowing. I did want to mention, you said that the video content is something that we can use right now, but you did also mention the future. So I was kind of curious on how you felt that might shift in the future with real estate and where video content might go versus what you think in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I just know that right now, video is even more important because of, the COVID pandemic, and that people, sometimes they can't get to where they need to go. They can't get to a house. They can't get to a neighborhood. So having as much information online about your neighborhood and about local businesses and about what's going on around you, I mean, the content can last forever, right? You can just reuse it, and it's evergreen because that stuff is rarely going to change. So just creating, just giving yourself a goal every week of, recording you don't have to do a video a day like Ken, but 2-3 videos of the local coffee shop or the park or, a restaurant, whatever it is, a coffee shop. The future in that, I mean, more and more video is going to be consumed, but people are going to definitely continue to want the same information. And really, if we are the ones to give it to them, then we're going to be the ones that they are going to think of when it's time,
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nick Baldwin. I really appreciate your time.
No problem.
Okay, fantastic. All right. I love what you said about making evergreen content. You're next, my brother. Go ahead. You're on deck. I love what you said about it being evergreen content, because we're big on that around here. You make it once, you get it out there in the world, and then you promote that, and then you reference people back to it. Right now, I'm going to introduce you to Andres de Arense. He's the one that is translating this class into Spanish Monday through Friday at 9 o'clock.
Say something, David, real quick about evergreen. I mean, I did a video 5 years ago on my town, Montclair, New Jersey, and organically it's racked up like 30,000 views. And without trying, I get like 6 inquiries a year just without trying. Right? Could you imagine if I had like 10 of those? Right? I mean, that's the power of it.
It's so funny that we do these things that work extraordinarily well, and then we do them once and we never do them again. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to Andres. Andres, you're on.
Bienvenido, caballero.
Hey, oh, sorry. I thought you're going to talk Spanish as I speak. Nice. Love it.
I was just going to mess with you, bro.
So I'm old school, and like I don't like turning the camera on myself, but I realize if I don't, it's going to be a little harder to move into the future.
Yeah.
So what are some simple dimple apps? And you mentioned a couple. I've heard Agent Legend before. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what are some simple dimple apps that are cost effective, doesn't cost a lot of money up front, that are like must-haves? What is a must-have?
For video?
So doing video, I want to
Yeah,
start
for
doing
video.
that. I'm finally going to turn the dumb camera at myself, and I have to.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, so one of the videos that I like, one of the apps for video that I love the most is called Big View. So BIGVU. And I think that's on Apple and Android. And it's actually a teleprompter app. There's a lot more that it does. So it works on iPad too. So you can actually type out your script and it's a teleprompter. So you're looking at the screen as the words are rolling. And so like you can't mess up. And if you do, you just start over. That can get you comfortable. Another way is just really just doing it, testing it on yourself. You know what I mean? Pretending you're doing a live video. And by the way, a lot of times with the raw video like that, it's more approachable to the consumer because if you do something that's just a little too polished, it's almost like they feel intimidated. Or like if you look at Ken's channel, all of his videos are produced, but they're not intimidating. They're not like over the top produced. Yeah, he has edits and he has like text and some cool video effects, but it still looks like he made it himself, which is really what we should be going for. Because it makes you more approachable,
Cool. I like that.
Someone feels intimidated. Yeah, someone feels intimidated. Like here's an example. So like, I have some friends who were on real estate shows, like $1 Million Listing, things like that. And if you ask them, hey, did that show get you business? They'll be like, yes, a little bit, but it didn't like blow things up. And that's because then they're celebrities, right? And it can be intimidating to the average Joe. So it's really great if you just do something that's a little bit more raw, less polished, but still gets the information across. So if you say and ah, that's natural. Just do it,
Cool. Rock and roll, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man.
Yippers. Nick Baldwin. Amy's like this over here on the Zoom. Like, this is the business.
Yeah.
Christy has a question for you. I'm not going to pull her on camera, but she did have a question for you. She said, what's sort of cost? And of course, you and I both know that this is a complicated question, but I'm going to send it to you. What kind of cost should be expected with video and these sort of apps and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, iMovie is free, I think, right? I think Animoto is like $40 a month if you get the pro version. Your phone doesn't, I mean, yeah, it costs money, but like to film a video on your phone doesn't cost money. You can get a camcorder for $100. Like it's not expensive. I downloaded an editor on my desktop called WeVideo, WeVideo.com. It was like $100 for the year. And I edit everything on there. It looks like iMovie. And it was like $10 a month when you break it down. So it doesn't cost a lot of money to do this stuff. The only reason you would hire at some point is a videographer is so you could obviously have leverage, but they're essentially doing a lot of the same stuff. So yeah, it shouldn't cost you that much. A couple $100 at the most.
I love what you just said. You can absolutely get started right away. There are things that you can do to start leveraging your time once you get going. I shot, on literally an iPad, my first videos like this.
Yeah.
Those are my first virtual tours. And so, just use something. You don't have to be a professional. Like you said, a lot of times that can be really threatening. So we have several questions in the Zoom. I'll try to lightning round them at you. And then I think we have some questions on Facebook as well, because I know that we've only got a couple more minutes here. So this is coming from the Zoom class. Okay, it says, what technology is recommended on the apps? I'm 44. So I know that we kind of like we just had like a whole class on it.
Well, for the Twitter book, I recommend. No, kidding. For the Google machine, what you want to do is on the apps for like what specifically, video, or for like what do you want to attempt to do?
You know, I think that we got to some of that with like the, what was it, the simple nimble things. That was Andres.
Yes,
Andres.
simple.
Okay, so we got that question answered. Okay, and then here's another one. This is from one of the students in the class. What was the automated Facebook replies application?
Oh, okay. So there's a company called agentlegend.com. There's another one called Shoutboss, SHOUTBOSS. Yeah, there's a couple CRMs that do it that are inexpensive. LionDesk, LIONDESK. That's like super inexpensive, and it has video messaging and such. But yeah, those are three that I would look into because they're very cost effective.
Okay, great. I just threw that in the chat here in the Zoom, and then I've got one more question for you probably, and then we'll check Facebook. How about one budget, or how should one budget out their advertising? Example: 30% social media, 20% newspaper ads, etc.
Well, 0 newspaper ads.
I agree.
Because 97. Okay, so in 2020 it went up 2%. 97% of potential real estate consumers start their search on the internet. It went up from 95%, which means 3% start their search everywhere else, which is where? I don't even know. I don't know if the other place there is.
Smoke signal. I've heard that smoke signals are coming back.
Homing pigeon, the Hogwarts owl from Harry Potter, they can send contracts back and forth. I heard
crows. We're hearing from The Office. No, but we're not looking to make fun of anybody, of course. But like, do not contribute any money towards newspaper. Of course, that's a outdated guy.
Morse code is very popular these days with the kids.
Morse code is making a comeback with all the censorship.
Huge comeback. Right, exactly. You can say anything you want over Morse code. So yeah, that's essentially so social media for a new agent should be like almost all of it to get your awareness out there. Social media should be almost all of it, and your friends and family. That's where you need to focus stuff.
Agreed. And that, that's actually where our first deal was found here in class. Was 7 calls in. Somebody called their friends and family, and that somebody is mom. We've got a full office, but mom was the first one to find it. Okay, so now we have a question from Facebook. Lisa says, how do you feel about the animated agents, i.e. moving hands and arms like crazy? Do you feel agents should be so animated when they speak, Nick Baldwin?
Have you met David Serpa? So just, he's very animated. I'm typically very animated too. But today I'm just a little tired, but I'm typically moving my hands around. If you watch the webinars I do on lab coats, like I talk a lot with my hands. Yeah, I mean, I think you do what's natural. Like if you're not moving your hands around, you should probably start to talk with your hands. Like, yeah, like we sing show tunes. We use our hands a lot. So I would not be worried about that. Obviously, if it's over the top, like this is too much. You don't want to keep doing like a over and over, something repetitive, like a nervous habit.
Which, of course, I developed those as well. But it is 10:03, and I do want to honor your time here. Lisa says, I'm Italian. It's natural. So then boo?
Listen, I'm Jewish. We talk with our hands a lot, and my wife is Italian and Catholic. They talk with their hands a lot. We need to stick together. We're the same people right here.
My sister just said, I'm Irish, so I swing with my fist a lot.
Well, I'm from New Jersey, and I pump my fists at the shore a lot. So
All right. Well, it was, I happen to talk with my feet when I'm, explaining things. All right.
well, David.
Pada bouret,
Oh my-
pada bouret. All right, Nick
Wow.
Baldwin.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
That was a lot of
Good
fun.
stuff.
I appreciate you, sir. I want to respect your time. Thank you so much. Did you have anything else for anybody? How can they find you and whatnot?
My email is nickbaldwin@kw. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me. I'm the only bald one with a beard and glasses. So I know there's other Nick Baldwins, but I'm pretty recognizable, I think. So yeah, reach out. Messenger, join lab coats,
Morse code, smoke
Morse code.
signal,
signals, yeah, all
bat
that stuff.
signal.
The apps. You can find me on the apps.
Everybody is in the office laughing. It was a great way to start my Monday with you, my brother. I love you so much.
Thank
You
you.
have a great rest of your day, my friend.
All right, see you soon. Thank you.
Okay, family. That was what Mondays are all about. It is about what they don't teach you in real estate school. That was a lot of fun. I appreciate Nick Baldwin making some time for us today. So we've got a few more moments. I'm going to check the Zoom to make sure that there was nothing that we missed. Of course, this is every Monday we are talking about what they don't teach you in real estate school. Next Monday is going to be Ricardo Acevedo. He's going to talk about dominant branding. We're going to talk to the king of real estate, and he's got a sign on every billboard is Ricardo Acevedo. He is a fantastic guy, big family, and he does a lot of business. So we're going to be talking to him next week. So if you guys got questions for Ricardo Acevedo, he's teaching high school students today, and you guys next week. So Lisa Toscano, we will see you next Monday, my Italian friend. All right, we got to get to work here in the office. Everybody have a great rest of your Monday. We will see you around. And if you have any questions whatsoever about what we are doing with our community real estate school, feel free to reach out to me at 951-691-7798, and we will help you get started, help you duplicate what we're doing, so that we can continue to empower one another and the next generation of real estate agents. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your Monday. Bye, everybody.